Hello, guys. It's Video Psych here again. And yes, I shaved. But anyway, it's not what this video is about. This video is about, at least I would say, about 5 reasons why we tend to typically want or need, love dolls in general, at least in my opinion. And, one thing I gotta say before I state some of the reasons is, before we had love dolls like we do now, like the one before, like the ones that we have behind me, back when people used to actually even use like scarecrows, like old farmers in the past, like we had nothing else. We just had each other for like the longest time. When you really think about it, I mean, in some areas, it might not be a new thing for human beings to screw things that aren't really human, but this is the first time that we've actually had the proper technology to actually come up with a proper solution, besides just, us human beings. Because for the longest time, we pretty much just had each other for the longest time, which is why I kind of made this list of the reasons why we need love dolls. And of course, one of those reasons, obviously, being there is no risk of disease. And again, for the longest time, we had to worry about disease like AIDS and some other diseases when it came to sex, and people would sometimes become desperate and, for sex sometimes to the point where they would just even go as far as having sex with the next person that, they could get sex from just because, sex is sex. And, that's not the kind of thing that you want. You don't want to just have sex with just anybody just for the physical satisfaction like that when you're in desperation like that. And it could take hours for you to find somebody to have sex with. I mean, that's just ridiculous when you really think about it. And it's also really inefficient. Whereas, at least having something on hand for a proper masturbation purpose, like a love doll, or maybe possibly a fleshlight or something. I mean, Jesus. I mean, yeah, it was just ridiculous for the longest time, in my opinion. I'm surprised they even did it for as long as they did. But, it's just my opinion. And the next reason is, they can help with a lack of intimacy. I mean, just kind of like I was just talking about. You know, for some people, they might not have a problem with intimacy so much, but the reality is that there are quite a bit of people that also have an issue with intimacy. Whether it's because you're older, like in your 60s to 70s, or maybe even 50s or 40s, to even just simple reasons like, women or men don't find you good looking, or they, for whatever reason, just think you stand out a little bit too much and they think you're weird, or just whatever reason. There's, plenty of people, they are having enough sex at least, but then on the other hand, there's a lot of just as many people who aren't having enough intimacy for whatever reason sometimes. And sometimes there isn't even anything wrong with these people in particular. But at the same time, they just aren't getting enough intimacy. And that is also another thing that love dolls can at least kind of help with. And is another reason why you might want or need one. And the next reason is that, kind of like I was just saying, in a sense, they are reliable companions. Now, I mean, how long does the average relationship last nowadays? Like fucking 2 years? 5 years? I mean, sometimes it'll last about 5 years when they're married and then they break up and they have to pay for, breaking up. And one of them has, if they have kids with each other, then one of them has to have, rights to the kids or whatever, or they have to share the kids. And then, it just gets ridiculous, and then you're just in fucking, over your head and just debt from paying for the wedding, and then now you got to pay for the breakup, and it's just ridiculous. And sometimes getting in a relationship might not seem very beneficial. And of course, in a sense, that's where love dolls come in, at least to an extent. They won't cheat on you. They won't bitch at you for stupid ass reasons. That, and every time you're home, they'll always be ready for you, and in a sense. And this is, I think you kind of get the point with that. And of course, the next reason, they can be a bit of a stress reliever. They can actually help with stress. I mean, and let's say you are in a relationship though, and you're kind of in a relationship, that's just fine. But let's say, you've had kind of a long day, and you kind of felt, for the moment, you feel like you need some physical intimacy. But when you come home, your wife is also tired from taking care of the kids and going to her job and everything, and taking care of the chores. And she's so tired to the point that she can't give you physical intimacy. Well, that's another thing that these love balls can kind of help with. That, and they can, yeah, I think you get the point. Or sometimes you might not want to go out and have to, take a day or two or a few hours to look for somebody for sex. You just want to go home and just kind of get it over with. That's another reason why you might want or need one of these things. And I'd say the last reason I'm going to put down is that these things will help you experience your wildest dreams, with no judgments or anything. Your love doll will never judge you for your wildest dreams. Whether it's just, yeah, how should I say this? Whether it's because you want to fantasize her as your mother or your sister, or you like BDSM, or you like cuckolding, or just whatever the heck you're into. These dolls, they will also be into whatever you're into. It will never judge you. With that being said, I will end the video, I guess, because I don't really have much else to say. I mean, there probably is something else to say, but I don't really have much else to say. And I'll see you guys here soon in the next video. Bye.